I'd like to talk to you about when things don't make sense. Okay? When things don't make sense is when you thought you were going a certain direction and you thought it was God's will and you thought this is perfect and surely God would want all this. But then something throws a wrench into it and makes it stop and makes it not work. That's when things don't make sense. Well, a few weeks back, my husband was scheduled to have an angiogram. Now we have most of our medical stuff done in the Indiana region because that's where everything is from years and years of being part of that area. And no matter what we do, we have to fly or drive to get these medical procedures done. So we made flight arrangements, left a meeting early, rented a car, got a hotel, and went in at 6 o'clock the next morning to have this angiogram. And Kevin, they have to do a rapid COVID test, and Kevin, of all things, he tested positive. Well, it was really a false positive. We found out because a few hours later we went to another hospital in that area, because if it was true that he had COVID, we couldn't do the meeting the next week, and so we had to test. So both of us went to another hospital in the area like 3 or 4 hours later, and got swabbed and got a COVID test. And but because he tested positive, we didn't feel like we could go back on the airplane, so we had to cancel that flight. We had to ask the rental car agency to let us take that car all the way to North Carolina, which it was very expensive to change because they need cars in the Chicago area more than I guess they need them in North Carolina. Anyway, so we drive in 2 days to get back to North Carolina. We got back the next day, and at 4 o'clock we got back, and within an hour we got the test negative from the normal COVID testing. And I'll just be honest with you, whenever the nurse came in and said he tested positive, it just started. You know how you just feel this feeling go over, like, this can't be happening to me. This is not real. It's not true. You know, how could this be? So, and then Kevin just said, I was joking about having it, but I just don't feel like I got it. And she said, I know, but we got to go by the test. And so then Kevin and I finally got back to the hotel room to pack up because we were going to check out. Didn't want to pay for another night there. And, you know, we just decided that we're just going to trust the Lord with this. And really and truly, when things don't make sense, you just got to trust Him. I still, you know, what I think takes away my peace when things are not going right is when I try to understand why. You know, I just don't think any of us can understand why when things don't make sense. And there's a natural part of us that's curious, and we want to know why everything is and what it is. And, you know, we have all these questions. And women especially, I find, they got to know the nitty-gritty answers. But can I tell you, in our Christian life, the best thing for you to think is, I don't have to know why. I just need to trust Him. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14:33, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. So He's not the author of confusion. He's the author of peace. And what I want us to realize today is you don't have to understand why. Just trust Him. And that, because He wants you to have peace. And I think sometimes we take away our peace by trying to understand. I don't think you can understand. I just think you need to trust Him. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice.